Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Herbie's Community Cooking Corner for May 14th, 2024. So, first of all, for those of you on the Zoom side of things, you're going to notice a slight change, and this will be in effect through the beginning of convention. We are currently in a webinar format, as I actually said, hey, Sunday, I'd love to have my call be made a webinar so we can give the hosts practice. So they'll be in ship shape in time for the convention. Now, that'll be interesting because I personally don't know if I want to be in the shape of a ship, but Cindy thought it was a good idea anyway that they all get in ship shape. So, yeah, why do we say ship shape? I don't know. But anyway, no. In all seriousness, though, that we're giving them more practice. So I don't anticipate any problems today, but just keep in mind that we do have a host in training. But I have every confidence in him, Mr. Abraham, who has to behave himself today because he's hosting, not cooking. And we've got Nikki streaming, so this is the first time I think this call's been internationally hosted this year. So, so for what that's worth. And how appropriate, since we're doing Dulce de Leche cake, which from the research I've done, the little of it anyway, I understand comes from South America. I was asked if this is the same as Tres Leches cake, which I think is... I actually don't know if it's the same or not, so... But I found thanks to the person that requesting it, we finally found something I could work with. And that is one. So just keep in mind, if you ever request for me to do something and you send me a recipe, make sure that the recipe you send me is an accessible format. And so, like, for instance, YouTube ones are great to a point, or maybe not, because, like, the first one I got, it was very fast-paced, very hard for me to follow, and then that goes into my other point. There was a text version of it. I'm less likely to do recipes from gourmet kitchens. That is, not my style of cooking. I'm a little bit more straightforward here. This one is still interesting, but we're going to give it a try. So, what do we need for our cake here? We need a vanilla cake mix and the ingredients required to make the cake, which is, they got it right, water, eggs, and oil. We're also going to need 1 can of Dulce de Leche, but somebody recommended that I can just use caramel sauce and do the exact same thing that way, so that's what we're going to do with that. And let's see. 1 cup heavy cream, ½ cup of powdered sugar, I've got plenty of that, vanilla extract, and there we go. So, first thing we're going to need to do is the cake mix. Now, this thing nearly gave me a heart attack when I scanned it earlier with my barcode scanner. It was telling me that it was a Betty Crocker nut and banana nut muffin. And so that was a bit of a, I was like, no. But thanks to Seeing AI, it has actually the ability to scan the text itself of the box, and that was a lot more helpful, so then I just used Google to get the actual instructions. Okay, Donna, you asked why am I using webinar, and I just, I guess you tuned in late because I was explaining that, we converted to webinar to give hosts an opportunity to train for convention, as we want them in tip-top shape here. Okay, I love it when my bowls get washed but not dried out. Okay, so let us prepare the cake mix. This is pretty straightforward. We need the cake mix, of course, 3 eggs and 1 cup water, a 1/3 cup vegetable oil. And then while that bakes, Excellent. I'm glad you approve there, Donna. And okay, and welcome, DJ. Welcome, Melissa. Glad that you are. Oh, except you need a current link. Yikes. Okay. I'm getting text messages in my ears, and so we need to do this real quick. Let's see. Okay, so the cake mix, of course, comes in a box. Now, it doesn't matter which brand of cake mix you use. The Betty Crocker. How that works is, there's Betty Crocker, there's Duncan Hines. This is the Betty Crocker one. And you can always do like I did. If you know which cake mix you have, don't worry about trying to read the box or anything like that. You can, if you have access to the web and are good with surfing said web, then it's a lot easier sometimes just to Google the instructions. And at least that's what I did. Sometimes I can get it read off the box, sometimes not. So first thing I need to do is preheat the oven. And also we need to grease our pan. And it says only the bottom if it's a 13 by 9 pan. I'm not quite sure I agree with that, but so we're going to spray the sides. And the oven is set to 350, so let's now open the box. And just tearing open the cake packaging here. And there, that's done. Okay, next we need the eggs. And actually, no, let's do the cup of water since we're here already at the sink. Just to get it done. All right, so. Pouring that into the mix, and since it's water, all we need to do is dry off the cup because it's actually not touched the actual cake mix. I wonder what a few chocolate chips would be like mixed into this. I don't know if that would work well with the whole Dulce de Leche idea. Now, forgot to check how long I actually need to bake this for, but we'll look into that in a minute. All right, I'm now going to add in the eggs. So I like to crack my eggs directly into the bowl, but if you're not comfortable with the eggshell, then you can crack it into a separate bowl and then use your hands to fish out any eggshells. But I have been cracking eggs for a long time, and very rarely have I actually ever had any shells end up in anything, and nothing that I'm baking. Okay. Now let's put that in garbage, and I'm going to wash my hands off because of the egg, raw egg on them, and I don't want to. I mean, you can probably get salmonella from cookie dough. That's not happened to me yet, but no sense in spreading it around either. Don't you think? Good. I'm glad you agree. Okay. Then next is going to be the oil. And the vegetable oil, I think I've described this bottle a million times. I know I have. It has the round lid, has a little thing on top, and a little kind of like oblong indentation in the center. Now, the oil is definitely something I want to be careful with how we measure, because you can't actually have too much oil. So I'm using my blind mice 1/3 cup, so that way I know precisely how much I'm measuring. And I'm good enough with pouring that I can do it still over the bowl and be fine. But if you're not, then do this over the sink. And then carry the sink to the bowl. Carry the cup from the sink to the bowl. And you can put the bowl like right next to the sink, so that way you don't have that far to go. Another thing you can do with oil is you can put it in the refrigerator, which makes it thicker, and that'll make it easier to pour as well. So there's that. Okay, so you can either use a mixer or do this by hand. I thought I'd do the mixer today. And I have already gotten it set up. And let's check on it now to see if it's done. Ooh, still looks a little lumpy in spots. Okay. And let's try to get all of that out. And I will take questions in just a minute, so if you do have any, you can start raising your hands. Okay. Looking better. There, that should do the trick. So I'm going to eject the blades. All right, so before I pour this into the pan, are there any questions so far?
So far, we don't have any raised hands. They're not giving me much work to do today.
All right, so come on, give Abraham work to do, guys. I want to see him working, but that's okay. Um, I'm such a nice teacher, aren't I? But so I'm not just pouring the bowl into the pan, I'm just going to use my hand to straighten it out. And I'm going to let this bake. And then while this is baking, oh yes, I need to look up my instructions, don't I? And I'm going to get a spoon to just kind of scrape any extra mix from the pan. So let's do that real quick. And yeah, because fingers only go so way. Now you can also use a butter knife. You can use the wooden spoon, anything you want. I personally just to flat straighten out the cake mix. I personally just find that fingers are the best tactile tools we have. They are our eyes, and sighted people get to use their eyes. We should have the same luxury. Now, of course, you want to make sure you have clean hands, obviously. That is important. But, so let's see how sophisticated my talking Google is here, guys, because we can. Hey, Google, how long do I bake a Betty Crocker vanilla cake?
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Computer, how long do I bake a Betty Crocker cake mix? Hey, Google, what are the instructions for a Betty Crocker vanilla cake mix?
Here's a summary from the website bettycrocker.com. Prep instructions. 1. 1 heat oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit for aluminum or glass pan or 325 degrees Fahrenheit for nonstick pan. 2. 2 mix cake mix, water, oil and eggs in large bowl with mixer on medium speed or beat vigorously by hand 2 minutes. And 3. 3 bake as directed in chart or until toothpick inserted in center comes out clean.
We do have a couple of raised hands.
Okay. So first of all, I'm just going to assume 20 minutes and then, 20 to 25 minutes and then we'll check on it. All right. Who have we got?
Christy.
Christy, welcome.
I have.
There you.
Okay, there we
Oh,
go.
I think now she's got it.
Hi. I have a couple of instructions. And I'm looking for the. It says 350. But it doesn't say, how many minutes you have to leave it in. So do you have to leave it in 25, 30?
Well, that's what I just got done talking about. Is it does not say that. So let's see. Hey Google, set timer for 25 minutes.
Okay,
I'm just going to
Okay.
assume it's 25, but no, it does not actually say, and that is very unhelpful.
Okay. And you said 3 eggs, correct?
Yes,
Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, who is next?
Next is Heidi.
All right, Spider Woman.
All right.
Um,
Might help if my finger found the right button.
Yes.
I wanted to give a report on last week's call real quick.
All right, go ahead and do that.
It actually was really good. Mine, the bacon probably could have been a little bit more crisp if I left it in for a little longer, but the chicken was done. And the cumin actually was a good taste.
Excellent. And cumin happened to be the word yesterday, by the way. So, and that was pretty cool, actually. And I got it in 2 as well. So, so I was very pleased to see the cooking corner make it into Wordle, even if they didn't know it, But that's good, and ours turned out really good too. So,
So it sounds like cumin and paprika are very, very good to use. I'm glad I used the cumin instead of more cayenne or something different. So,
Yep. All right. Very good. Should have had you give that report in the beginning, but that's okay.
Okay, we have no further raised hands.
No more raised hands. All right. So,
Oh, I just said that, and we have one more.
all right.
Amanda.
Amanda, welcome.
Okay, Herbie, what size pan are you using?
I'm using a 13 by 9.
Okay, if you ask Google that particular size, how to bake, it might actually tell you.
All right. Hey, Google. How long do I bake the Betty Crocker cake mix in a 13 by 9 pan?
Sorry, I didn't understand. But I found something else. Do you want to know does one box of cake mix make two 9-inch round cakes?
No.
We love Google, don't we?
Yes. Yeah, we do. All right. So, very good. Okay. Now, do we have any other questions?
So far, no raised hands.
All right. Well, unfortunately, it's disappointing. The person that wanted me to make the cake is having trouble getting in with the webinar format, but not much I can do about that at the moment. So, okay. So really wanted me to use round cake pans to make the cake layers. And I should have thought of that, but that's okay. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna make this a single layer cake and call it good, since that's how I ended up baking it anyway. But if I was to use two round cake pans, then it's a matter of just figuring out how to evenly divide the mix between the two pans, which is, it's doable. It's not impossible. Just you have to kind of use your own judgment, and they don't really have any recommended tools for that type of thing.
We do have a raised hand.
All
lady.
right.
okay. I asked all knowing Lady A, and she said 25 to 35 minutes for a Betty Crocker cake in a 9 by 13-inch pan.
All right. So Alexa knows. Unfortunately, I don't have her out here. It's the. But that is definitely good to know. Okay.
Alrighty.
It's interesting how the two smart devices work, isn't it? Okay. Okay, so what we need to do now so to make the frosting, what we're gonna do okay, so I'm looking up at my instructions here. So we're going to whip the heavy cream along with the powdered sugar and vanilla. And then we're going to frost the cake with that. And then, so really what we're going to do is put the caramel on first, then the icing, and then we're going to set it in the fridge and let it set. So that is how that works. So, you know what? I'm going to wash off my mixer blades that I ejected. And we're going to use...
another raised hand?
We do have another raised hand? Okay, let's get to that first.
Shanty.
Yes.
Yes, just for future reference, I know, I think that was Margie, or I can't remember who gave you the time, but the way I get my times for baking or any of my package instructions, like for instance, the Betty Crocker, I went directly to the Betty Crocker website and I grabbed all the package instructions I needed, and then I have it there for future reference.
All right, there you go. Excellent. And by the way, Abraham, you're doing a really good job. So, you can give yourself a pat on the back. All right. Or get somebody else to do it because you're hosting, you know, and you can't take your hands off the keyboard, whatever way works. Okay. Now let's see. Oh, there's my mixer blades. So I'm going to wash these off and then reattach them to the mixer, and then we're going to get our frosting ready to go. Because the way this works, if I understand my instructions, is, you know, it's ultimately supposed to cool in the fridge. So... Okay, so I'm going to reattach the blades here. This mixer needs a wiping down too, but, whoa. I must have dropped one of my blades. Okay, fine. Let's see here. Well. Well, that's gonna be fun. A one-bladed mixer. But let's see here. Because I know it fell. Let's see here. Alright, so I am missing a mixer blade, which is not good. So let's give the mixer a wipe down. Down the counter a little bit too. So of course now the blade is going to turn up when I don't need it. Isn't that how that works? Okay. So yeah, the actual idea with the cake is it's supposed to be more of a layer cake. But,
We do have a raised
we do have a raised
hand.
hand? Okay.
Melissa.
Oh, you made it!
Sorry, Herbie. I didn't know. I didn't understand what I didn't understand what that new link was. Sorry.
Nope, that's okay. I'd forgotten that it'll do that. So, I'd forgotten to explain that to you, so.
Oh, okay. So now we're making dulce de leche. I can see.
Yep.
What did you put in there?
So right now I've just done the cake mix part, and gonna have to try something interesting with my mixer because we're having trouble here. So let's see if I can get my other blade to work.
Oh, Abraham is the host.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Abraham. My name is
Hi.
Melissa. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
All right. So.
So what did you put in?
Sorry there, Melissa. We do have another raised hand.
We do have another raised hand. All right. So, but real quick, what I'm doing here is just before we get to the other raised hand, I'm getting the mixer ready, and we're now going to make the dulce de leche. Well, we're going to make the frosting, and the cake is still baking in the oven. So that's where we are at right now, there, Melissa. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay, who is our next hand?
Janet.
Janet.
Hello. How long do you set the cake for? Set the cake for.
So the cake will sit in the fridge for
refrigerator.
an hour.
An hour. Okay. And I pat you on the back, Abraham.
Abraham.
Thank you.
All right. So we need 1 cup heavy cream, 1/2 cup powdered sugar, 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. So, did I just say 1 cup or 1/2 cup? I think I said 1 cup. Yep, 1 cup. Okay. So let's get out our heavy cream. And that comes in a carton with a lid on top. So it looks like those, if you've ever gotten those milk cartons at school, it looks like one of those, but this has a lid on, so it's not impossible to open. Why they couldn't do that with the milk cartons, I don't know. Probably extra things to add on to it, but so I'm going to pour this in. And there we go with that. And then I can just put the lid back on, put this back in the fridge. Alright. And I'm going to be trying the chicken bacon recipe again soon, except with brown sugar and with the white sugar, and see how that affects the taste too, by the way, before I forget to mention that. Okay, I need my 1/2 cup. Now we need our powdered sugar. And how do I know it's powdered sugar? I am so glad you asked. Because of the texture of it is, it's very powdery. So I'm going to, you know what, what's left in this package is about a 1/2 cup anyway, and if it's a little bit extra. This isn't a cake you eat to be healthy, so now I've just saved my 1/2 cup. And I've got more powdered sugar if I need it. So And then we need a teaspoon of vanilla. And the vanilla again comes in an oblong bottle. Long at the top, bottom, so it gets narrower at the top. And we're just going to add a lot of that in. I don't always measure vanilla because it's one of those things that if you have a lot of, I mean, you don't want to use the entire bottle, but, and now we're going to run the mixer, and our frosting will be ready to go. So how cool is that? Now, like some of the fancier cake recipes, they were calling for you to like pipe down the sides, all that stuff, and okay. Really supposed to be mixing it until it's stiff, so to make it a little bit stiffer. Okay. So didn't quite make the frosting stiff, but okay, let's.
We have a raised hand.
We have a raised hand. All right, let's get to it.
Christy.
Christy, yes.
Muffin liners, but have you ever used cake liners? So that way it would make your cake a little easier and you could even it out more because you have the top to watch, and you're not pouring too much into it.
You know, I have not used a cake liner. For an actual cake liner, no, I have not done that, but very good point.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we're just gonna let that frosting sit. And we'll just let things sit. So I need to check on what I'm doing for next week. And which I think it's going to be a collab call next week, but like I said, I need to double check on that. So some things that I do have coming down the pipe for you, though. It may or may not be next week, but I've got a hamburger soup recipe. And then in June, Patty's going to be joining us for a call. And let's see, we've got Heidi, who's going to be joining us for several recipes. And, well, just a whole lot of exciting calls coming up. And this is not like the days where I had my organizer that told me what to do. No, well, she didn't tell me what to do, but she kept my schedule organized. Um, so I actually usually knew what I was doing ahead of time. But, hey, Google, how much time is left?
T minus 3 minutes and 11 seconds.
Okay.
We do have a hand raised.
All right.
Shanty.
I'm just curious about what you used today for the frosting. Did you use the dulce de leche or the caramel sauce?
I'm using the caramel sauce.
And I'm wondering because I think dulce de leche has milk in it, and even though you're using the whipped cream, I'm wondering if maybe that would have helped to fluff it up.
I
And then
didn't, because it says to add the.
another, yeah. Go ahead.
It says to add the dulce de leche separately. So,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
so
so you were whipping the cream and the vanilla and
and
the
the powdered
powdered
sugar.
sugar?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. It didn't want to fluff up for you, huh?
Nope.
Okay. Oh, yeah. And what I might try, and just out of curiosity, is just straight condensed milk instead of the caramel sauce or the dulce de leche, because that makes it taste even more creamy.
Yep. I will say I did try to see if I could find dulce de leche. I couldn't find it at Walmart, at least. I might have. I could have tried other stores, but so
Hmm.
I decided to just do the caramel sauce option instead. But
Okay.
all right. Okay. Do we have any other questions?
Mm, not for now.
Not for now. All right. So, we got just under 2 minutes here before our cake comes out the oven. And then we're going to deal with our caramel sauce. So I just got the Dear Gelly caramel sauce. This is a 16-ounce jar. We'll just use the entire jar of it. And then we're going to add in the frosting. And if I'd have done it the way they said to, I would have had to invest in another cake pan, which isn't the end of the world, but something to think about next time if I ever try this again is that I will need an additional cake pan. Cake pans, by the way, they're kind of like the round 9, like there's a rectangular 9x9s, and then there's like the round hey Google, stop. All right. So let us see what we're at now. So this is, it says, we found out 25 to 35 minutes. So let's see how it looks after 25 minutes. Okay, got the pan onto the oven. Oh, yeah, this looks done. Okay, and it doesn't look burnt. I like that. Okay, we are done with our oven. And it says, by the way, so if you're doing this in the cake pans, it says to use and scrape down the side, scrape it down with it. Really? It's something, it's the oven, because the cake itself isn't burnt. All right, so dealing with the smoke alarm there. Okay. Now, what did I do with my caramel sauce? I put it in the fridge just because I could. It doesn't necessarily need it to be in there.
We have no raised hands.
We have no raised hands? Alright.
I just wanted to make a suggestion.
Yep.
If you want a laid cake, 7.5 by 9, if you cut the cake in half.
Yep, I thought about that actually. I actually had thought about that idea, and that'll also make it a little bit easier to work with.
Six and a half.
All right. So let's see about actually if this thing will... Yeah, because we can cut right down the center of this. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is get a plate and put layer half number 1 on said plate. So I just cut the cake down the center here. And let's see if it'll... Alright, I'm going to let it cool down a second so that way maybe it'll be a chance.
Your default speaker has changed to
Okay.
Fi-Fine headset and will now be used.
What'll happen is it's a little bit crumbly, like in parts, and I want it to come out as a whole thing. So let's see. And so let it cool down a couple minutes and see if it makes it a little bit easier to move the layers of the cake here. And, let's talk about the caramel sauce in the meantime. So it comes in a round bottle, and it has a flip top lid, so you don't have to... I'm probably just going to take the actual lid off, because... Yeah, I think there's going to be a piece of paper protecting the thing. Now, let's see. How do we get this thing off? Okay, it wants to be a tight squeeze. And you will have to take the lid off fully the first time because there is a plastic film or paper film, whatever it is, covering the bottle. So, it has a thing that you can kind of pull back. These are always tricky to open. And it's going to be difficult. Okay, fine.
We are 10 minutes to the hour.
All right. So the plastic film is being difficult for me here, so I'm going to just use a knife to kind of pierce the center. Ooh, this is tough film. This better be good caramel sauce. Well, it is Ghirardelli, but still, well. Okay, so this is a very tough film that they put on this caramel sauce. Okay, I've never dealt with this stuff before. I do apologize, but how you deal with this stuff is, like I said, a knife in the center, and then you can kind of use your fingers to peel back both sides, and that's what I did to get this to work. Okay. Now, let us see if is going to come out nice and neat. And I can tell, by the way, because since the cake, I'm talking about the cake now, I can tell because it's split in half, the cake is definitely cooked, like all the way through. Okay. So what I'm trying to do is kind of it's sticking to the side. That's part of the problem. So I wonder, I may end up making this a single cake. It'll still be two cakes, but they will not be lowered. Okay. So it's going to prove a bit more disastrous than... Oh, there we go. It's starting to... I think part of the problem is it's so hot that it's hard to get the leverage I need with the cake. So, alright, we're going to just do this as a single layer as I thought, and we will call it good. It'll taste the same anyway, just be not as decorative. Okay. So I'm right now just pouring the caramel sauce on the cake. And by the way, the fancier recipes I've seen that call for the condensed milk recommend, say that it should be boiled. So, to make it that caramel consistency. So, Shanti, thought I mentioned that. Okay. So this is thick stuff. Should have left it out the fridge, but oh well. Now we're going to take, I'll tell you what, I'm actually going to wash my hands first, and then We're going to take the frosting, such as it is. And so we're just going to pour this frosting over. Now I need to sample this, even though it's not set yet. Well, this is going to be very good. I can definitely tell that. So now what we're going to do is create a spot in it for where it can sit in the fridge. And then after it sets, I'll try to move it to a different container. So I'm going to make sure I have some room in the fridge so the pan will be able to sit evenly, because we want that. Okay, so much stuff in here. Okay. So, just to describe the taste, it's very sweet. Overall, very delicious, I would say. And the good news is, guys, is we're going to get out of here early, so you can... Okay, that was not smart of me. I was about to put it in the oven again. I'm so used to putting my pan in the oven that... that won't help in this case. Not one bit. So, since this is a full 13 by 9 pan, it's tricky. I'm going to use an oven mitt for this, because the pan is still a little hot. And I'd better be careful not to mess up the drawers. Okay, that I think is going to work. Let's see if the door closes. It does. Hey Google, set timer for 1 hour.
Got it. 1 hour. That's starting now.
So I will give you all in the archive a final report, but this promises to be a very interesting cake overall. So yeah. All right. We are going to start wrapping things up here, but does anybody have any final...
Your default speaker has...
I don't see any raised hands.
Your
All
default
right.
speaker has changed
My
to Fi-Fine
connection got
headset
loose
and will now be
there.
used.
So what was that?
I don't see any raised hands.
No raised hands. Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming today. Remember, if you want to subscribe to the Cooks List, you can do so by sending an email to... let's see here. So there's a link in the email that says subscribe to the ACB Cooks List. And if you're not part of the email list, then you can do ACB-cooks plus subscribe at acblists.org. Also, don't forget, if you're listening on Media 5 and you've not joined our community calls, make sure you send an email to community@acb.org where you can get the entire daily schedules. And that's all you get. Maybe one or two extra announcements, but it's very low traffic, so your inbox is not going to be blown up or anything like that. And we have to say goodbye to you on the streaming side. And I want to thank Ibrahim and Nikki for streaming and connecting us. And this is your last chance for any comments.
We do have one. Christy.
All right, Christy.
Hi, Herbie. It's Vicky. I'm part of the email cook list, but I'm not getting any recipes and so is that like a closed topic list or how does that list really work?
Okay, you were breaking up there a little bit.
Okay. What I said was I'm part of the email cooks list, but I'm not getting any emails from it. Is it a slow cook list or how does the email work?
So there's only usually a couple of emails per week, so I try to send out the recipes after the call. If you're not getting any emails, make sure it's not going to your spam.
Okay. Because usually when I check it, I don't get any emails, whether it's my spam, whether it's my inbox, whether it's my delete folder. I'm not getting anything from you. And I think I registered for it maybe a month ago to 2 months ago.
Interesting. I'm not sure why, because it should be because you should have gotten at least a couple of emails.
Oh, okay.
So, maybe try resubscribing, see if that does anything. If not, then are you subscribed to any other ACB lists?
Just the daily announcements list.
Okay, and you're getting those, obviously. Interesting. And I'll see if
can you see if I'm on the list?
I cannot. I don't have that level of access. But if you email acbcooks@gmail.com, the Courtney who oversees the list might be able to see if you are part of the list or not. So
Okay.
that's acbcooks@gmail.com. And just ask if she can see if you are subscribed to the list or not, and give her the email address that should be subscribed. And see what she says.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
That's all our hands.
All right. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming today, and I will announce on the cooks list what I'll be making next week. I need to check my scheduling and all that type of thing. So thank you, everybody, for coming, and Nikki and Ibrahim, you may end the respective rooms.
Bye all, I'm ending the room.